Dr. Farm is a university professor and world-renowned expert in the therapeutic use of snake venom neurotoxins.
Okay, Dr. Farm.
Through his research at the university, Doctor had been experimenting with cobra venom to develop a treatment to reverse the effects of Alzheimer's disease. Because cobras are one of the world's most venomous snakes, the cages and doors in the lab were equipped with an electronic locking system to ensure that the cobras did not escape from their cages or the lab. The heat and humidity in the lab were also carefully controlled because cobras require a tropical climate to survive. Early last March, Doctor lost his grant funding and had to close the lab. Hoping to continue his progress towards finding a cure for Alzheimer's disease, Doctor moved the lab to his home's garage in suburban Anytown, Ohio.
Hey!
Oh no!
Now we got cobras in Ohio.
Oh no!
He brought the cobras in their cages along with the lab's locking system and climate control equipment. Although the electricity in the garage was sufficient to power the cage and door locks, the climate control equipment was connected to a separate power source, a gasoline generator. Doctor set up the generator outside the garage because it was noisy and emitted carbon dioxide fumes.
That would be bad for snakes.
Neighbor, who lived next door to Doctor, immediately began to complain to Doctor about the generator, which sat close to Neighbor's kitchen window. Neighbor liked to sit in his kitchen and relax while having a cup of coffee and reading the morning newspaper, but the loud noise and vibrations from the generator made it impossible for him to do so. Doctor explained that he could not turn off the generator or his cobras would die. Neighbor could no longer enjoy his morning coffee at home, so he started going to his office early each morning to have his coffee and read the paper.
Okay.
In an effort to save money feeding the cobras, Doctor decided to catch field mice. In an effort to save money feeding the cobras, Doctor decided to catch field mice and other rodents in his and surrounding yards.
Okay.
Neighbor's deck was surrounded by a flower bed and bushes, which Doctor knew was a perfect habitat for rodents. After Neighbor left for his office some mornings, Doctor would go onto his property to catch rodents.
You can't do that, Doctor.
Crawling through the flower bed and bushes became cumbersome, however, so Doctor decided to set a few mouse and rat traps in Neighbor's bushes, unbeknownst to Neighbor.
You definitely can't do that, Dr. Farm.
During the middle of April, while Doctor was away from home, a severe thunderstorm caused a brief power outage.
Oh no.
During the 10-minute outage, Kobe, the smartest and fastest of Doctor's cobras...
Kobe? also, there was zero introduction to Kobe until this moment.
No! I love how he names them. That's so cute.
So during the 10-minute outage, Kobe, the smartest and fastest of Doctor's cobras, was able to slither out of his cage and escape the garage while the electric locking system was down. Kobe went directly to Neighbor's yard because he could smell rodents in the bushes. After the storm ended, Neighbor came out onto his deck to check his yard for storm damage. He saw Kobe slithering toward him on the deck railing.
Shit.
Neighbor recognized the characteristic head of the cobra and was immediately terrified that he could be bitten by the venomous snake. As he quickly moved away from Kobe, Neighbor fell backwards down the deck steps, injuring his back and leg.
Oh, shit.
As Neighbor tried to pull himself to his feet, he fell into one of the bushes and caught his hand in a rat trap, which broke his finger.
Oh, this is a terrible day for Neighbor.
Neighbor's screams frightened Kobe, who quickly slithered back to Doctor's yard.
Okay.
Doctor, who had just returned home, was able to catch Kobe and return him to his cage. Neighbor intends to file a civil action against Doctor. Assume that Doctor did not violate any zoning or criminal laws by keeping the cobras or operating the generator. Excluding negligence, under what common law tort theories might Neighbor sue to recover damages from Doctor?
I mean, one, he was on his property fucking
trespassing.
putting up rat traps.
Yeah.
The question is, could he get in trouble for Kobe escaping? Because I feel like that's a shitty accident. But I don't know. If somebody's dog gets loose and does some shit, that person's in trouble because they're liable for what the dog does, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like he's in trouble for setting the traps and for Kobe getting out and scaring him to fall.
Yeah. He probably has to pay for his medical fees.
Yeah,
That's what I would guess.
Yeah, so to move through this, the simple one, trespass to land, as you mentioned.
Yes.
He was physically going into his yard at first to just crawl through the bushes and later to set mouse traps. So the pretty simple thing is, yeah, he's in trouble for trespass to land. There's really no defense there or anything. It doesn't really matter what his intentions were. He invaded the yard.
Right.
Then private nuisance is what you describe something like the generator making the noise and vibrations. In this situation, it's a private nuisance.
Interesting.
Direct and that's directly beneath Major Payne.
Hey. A private nuisance is defined as the substantial and unreasonable interference with someone else's use and enjoyment of their land.
Okay.
And basically what it comes down to is sort of, it's essentially a cost-benefits analysis when you're dealing with these sort of nuisance things, because, I mean, obviously you're allowed to do stuff to your own property, but you have to weigh how much it affects the neighbor, other people's use of their property. So it's one of those things like, doctor's going to argue that he's trying to cure Alzheimer's, which is much more important than neighbor reading his paper.
That's not wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
That isn't incorrect.
However, because this is residential area, it's probably not going to fly. If this was maybe a house next to the lab, it might be a different issue. But the fact that he's using this generator in a residential area probably means that he's not going to win this one either, and he'll be in trouble for private nuisance as well.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then we get to Kobe. So basically, what you need to know is
Don't lock Kobe up.
Hashtag free Kobe.
I can't lock Kobe. I mean, obviously free Kobe. The moral of the story is you are strictly liable for any damage caused by a wild animal.
Yes.
And so, like, domesticated animals, like a dog, can be a different thing, but wild animals, which are those animals not typically associated as domestic pets, would be considered wild, and thus you're strictly liable. And what strict liability means that basically it doesn't matter whether you intended to do it or it was your fault. If damage occurred and strict liability is in place, then you're in trouble. Pretty much nothing else matters. So
right.
He's going to argue doctor's going to argue that people keep pets as snakes, but they don't keep cobras as pets. And he's going to argue that he's using it for an important purpose, but none of that's really going to matter because a cobra is not a pet. Spoiler alert for everyone who wanted to go get a cobra.
Kobe.
Damn. Cobra's not a pet.
Cobras are not pets.
Damn.
So basically any damage that, so the falling over and hurting his leg and falling into the mouse traps, doctor's going to be liable for all of that, regardless of his intentions or whether he was at fault for the power outage.
I really hope that the state doesn't do some like Old Yeller stuff and then he has to take Kobe out back.
Well, to be fair, the state didn't make that boy put Old Yeller down.
You don't know. It's
he
in
got
the deep
rabies.
lore.
So the moral of the story is, as much as we all love
Cobras
doctors,
get rabies?
Wait, Triton on Titan in the chat says, "What the fuck is Old Yeller?" Oh my god!
No.
Now I feel like this is the most I've ever felt like a boomer in my entire life.
It's the original Marley and Me, or My Dog Skip, or what's the most recent one that came out about the dog that like got reincarnated a bunch
A
of
Dog's
times?
Purpose?
Oh, Frankenweenie?
Yeah,
oh no, that one's more right. You said a dog got reincarnated.
Did you?
Frankenweenie. I was definitely more right, but your answer is funnier.
Yeah,
so
dude.
stupid.
More of the story. As much as we love Dr. Pharma and we respect his attempts to end Alzheimer's, he's in trouble for everything. But we obviously stand. But no matter what, we stand Kobe.
You gotta love Kobe. There's nothing to hate about Kobe.
You can't not like
the
Kobe.
smartest and fastest.
Hey, really quick, before you scroll to the next video, if you're enjoying the crazy tales of Anytown, Ohio and want to rep your favorite fictional town, head over to etsy.com/shop/savedatateam and check out our Anytown, Ohio branded merch. They're stylish, comfortable, and even Cobra-proof.